Hi, and welcome to episode 11 of the Lowdown podcast. In this episode, we talk with Korn Superfan Jordan, or as those on the download forum know him, Esthenia912, as we ask the question, are Korn ready to step up into the headliner slot in 2025?
This is the Lowdown podcast.
Good evening, mate.
Good evening.
We've had a productive all week with the podcast. We've been making a few new things. We've been playing around with AI music, made our own little Christmassy jingle that's come out. We put that out on TikTok and Instagram, which was the 12 days of download. So if you want to check it out on Instagram and TikTok, we had a little bit of fun with that.
It was good laugh
just
to me,
a little bit of festive download humour for you there.
Bloody difficult, though.
It is.
Maybe it's just because we're getting old.
Yeah. Some people would absolutely probably our kids would just smash it out within 5 minutes. We end up fumbling over it for hours. And we've been doing them little audiograms so you can promote your podcast via little sound wavy things with subtitles. Yeah. So last week we were laughing because I told the story about when I lost my glasses at the Judas Priest concert. And I clipped that little bit for Instagram, and if you look on there now, it's we had to re-edit the words because when I said that the guy knocked my glasses off, I then said I picked them up and lobbed them into the crowd. The audiogram changed it to I picked him up and made love to him in the crowd.
Bit of a different gig experience, that, isn't it?
He would have been definitely a bit more shocked.
Kind of glad we caught it because we'd there may be more of them to come, I reckon.
Yeah, maybe
we'll have to.
Maybe we just leave them next time and see what happens.
Just to not vet them.
Barrow accent not helping us out.
Yeah, it's not at all, is it?
No.
Then we sent it to a few of our mates, and they're all just taking the piss out of our accents. But how nice it was to hear some northern twang on a podcast.
Yeah, they all live all over Europe, don't they?
Yeah, they live all over the world, so it's quite funny, really.
Yeah. So we've convened today to have our second headliner special. So I think for the first time in a long time, we've got 3 new headliners, and as I was talking to our guest later on, we said that this was the first time since 2011 that Downloads had 3 brand new headliners.
Who was it that year? Just checking your knowledge.
Check my knowledge. That was Def Leppard, No, it can't have been System of a Down. No, so it wasn't even then. It'll have been 2009.
Right, okay.
Which was Slipknot, Faith No More, and was that Def Leppard?
2009.
Quick.
So we should have got our folders out.
Yeah, prep a nice folder, then we never use it.
I know, we never used it once.
It was definitely
Faith No More, Slipknot, and Def Leppard.
Yeah, that was the first time all 3.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so 2009. So we are
quite interesting that because guess who subbed Faith No More on the Friday?
I'll have a guess because it's on my notes, and that was Korn. Yeah. So 16 years. I can't think many festivals would go 16 years without having 3 headliners that I've never played before.
Yeah.
And the one we're talking about today, Korn, I think is going to set a record that won't be beaten anytime soon. And that is that Korn have played Download Festival 8 times before making this final step up to headlining the festival next year. And I think that's quite incredible, really. So if we look a little bit of a trip down the old stat attack from me.
Yep.
2004, they subbed to Metallica when Metallica ended up with Lars in hospital.
All right.
And then interestingly, they subbed in 2006 and Jonathan Davis ended up in hospital.
All right.
He was replaced. Well, they did a bit of a cobbled together stand-in show with Benji Webb, M Shadows, several other people.
Bro, didn't know that.
Yeah, so then they came back in 2007 and they headlined second against My Chemical Romance. And the festival, the tent that they played in, because second was a tent back then, was famously absolutely mobbed.
Rammed.
Yeah, and the question was put to Jonathan Davis in 2022, like, why have Korn never headlined Download? And they said, you're going to have to ask them, because you should have seen the tent in 2007.
Okay.
We thought it was going to fall
Big
over.
enough justification for them to...
Yeah. And then they came back again, back on the main stage and subbed Faith No More. Then, very interestingly, they dropped considerably, really, and subbed second in 2011.
Subbed second
So
stage.
that's a big drop. Then, 2013, came back onto main, so played third from top on main. And that was Brian Head Welsh's first UK show back with the band.
That must have been the first time we've seen them, was it?
Yeah, that was the first time we saw them. And then they've kind of restarted their ascent, subbed to Rammstein in 2016, and then they subbed to Biffy in 2022. I said this to Jordan, our Asthenia 912, our special guest this evening. I said to him when I interviewed him back end of last week, I thought if they didn't do it then, I didn't think they were ever going to do it.
No.
We had the COVID years. We had a bit of a revolving door lineup where we had Kiss, Maiden, Biffy Clyro kind of came in and out. System of a Down dropped off, and then Biffy, as much as we love them, don't always draw the biggest crowd. Yeah. And then you put under him Korn, who always draw an enormous crowd. I thought that was probably the year, because if you'd have had Kiss, Maiden and Korn, I think that's a hell of a trio of headliners.
Yeah, right.
And not to say, I mean, really enjoyed Biffy, but I think Korn, if they were going to get that bump, probably should. Well, I know they have got that bump, but if they would have had it before next year, download 2025, download 23, whatever we're on now, 20 somewhere, 22, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that was a good opportunity for Download to pull the trigger, but they didn't do it, and we are finally getting them next year. So I've asked the question to Jordan, and we'll hear it later, and it's something we've pondered before. Why now?
Yeah.
And are they ready? I think that's the burning question, and I think that's a burning...
I thought you were going to do it in the voice of him at the start of the...
Are you ready? Yeah. We've been on a bit of a journey, because, like we've said in the past, we don't want to be kind of preaching about bands that we are not the biggest fans of.
Or hugely passionate about.
Yeah,
really,
because it'd come across, disingenuous, and I think that's important that we got. Well, thankfully, Jordan offered his deep knowledge and passion for Korn in order to educate us a little bit, which was really appreciated, and I think it would be good to see what you guys think. I know some of the older generation, my dad, Drew, Neil, I think they're all quite new to Korn, even though they've been around for so long.
Absolutely, yeah.
We've never given them as much of a chance as they've deserved, I don't think, have we?
No, I totally agree. We've said it a few times. It's a band that we don't consciously listen to, that we choose to listen to. And maybe, because whenever we do listen to them, it's kind of at alternative disco nights and stuff, and it's a bit maybe overplayed. But I think since the lineup announcement and was delving into the bit of the back catalogue, and you realise actually those songs aren't the best. That's out of the catalogue, I would say. No?
And it's a bit stupid of us not to realise that beforehand, isn't it?
It is, I know, because we're not like that with any other band, really.
No, like we know Run to the Hills isn't Iron Maiden's best song. We know Enter Sandman isn't Metallica's best song. So it was daft of us to think. Well, I mean, it's not to say Freak on a Leash isn't a bad. It's not a bad song.
No, not at all.
But it was like, I imagine it'll just be a lot of that, and I won't be that bothered. But well, should we pass over the reins back over to the interview and then we'll catch you up on the other side, and we'll debrief a little bit. But over to myself again and and Jordan. So enjoy the interview.
This is the Lowdown Podcast.
So joining us tonight on the Load Down podcast is a friend of mine from the forums, and it is Mr. Jordan Aldridge, known to many as Asthenia 912, and known to a lot of people on the eFests forums as Andrea 91. So, hi Jordan.
Hi mate, how's it going? All right?
Yeah, thanks a lot. As I said before, thanks for joining us to talk about. So, the reason you volunteered your services, which I'm very grateful for, is to plead the case for Korn, really. I think Korn have been a download staple since 2004. They first appeared, and they subbed Metallica in 2004. And they've played 8 times already.
Is it them and Biffy that are like tied or round about the same for the most appearances?
Yeah, that's right. So
some people still think Biffy aren't a download band.
Yeah, it's madness, isn't it? They built their way up from the smaller stages and still don't get the recognition they deserve, really. But Korn is an odd one, really, because, like we say, we've seen them so many times at Download, and I mean, that's obviously a record of appearances before headlining. So, as a fan, what do you think has been the catalyst this time for them finally getting that push?
I think it's going to be really nice just before that to see them like get their flowers.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like always a bridesmaid, never the bride when it comes to Korn.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a combo of, you know, the new metal boom, like the resurgence that's happened over the past half decade or whatever. All those big shows they did over here this summer, I think that proved to a lot of people that, you know, whilst it's not shifting numbers of tickets on like a Green Day or Sleep Token scale,
yeah,
I think there's still going to be plenty of people that went to those shows and were blown away and want to see them again next summer.
Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things. Quite a few of my friends went to the Peace Hall in Halifax to see them, and yeah, I've heard nothing.
I had a few mates that went. We couldn't go, me and my fiance, because we was on holiday, but I'm being serious. We were going to Mexico, and when she found out Korn were playing up the road, like for a split second, she was like, should we do that instead? And I was like, don't be silly. Yeah, but there'd be a lot of people like us, you know, that are like big Korn fans that, for whatever reason, didn't get to go to that tour.
Yeah.
So for them to be at Download, it's just a win-win, really.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought in the midst of, you know, the COVID kind of revolving door lineup that we had from 2020 to 22, I thought that was a real potential year for them, because the crowd they drew in 2022 was enormous.
Oh, it was insane. It was insane. Like that's another thing that I think the festival have done really well is putting them on the Sunday.
Yeah.
Because I think we've kind of seen what's happened when Biffy have done the Sunday, and you know they're not maybe a headliner that everyone sees as being a headliner for Download.
Yeah.
You know, and you know they had quite a reduced crowd, which more room for me to dance around and enjoy myself.
Yeah.
But no, I think having Korn on the Sunday is going to be great because they pull headliner-sized crowds anyway.
Yes.
So it makes sure people stick around rather than, you know, maybe if like Sleep Token was on the Sunday, there might be a few people that think, oh, well, I'm not into them, I can head off early or whatever. But with Korn there, it gives everyone a reason to stay, I reckon.
Yeah, I did kind of make a note of that because, like you said, the Biffy crowd in 22, a lot of people watched Korn and thought, let's beat the traffic. And it is a bit of a death slot. I even remember in 2017, Aerosmith crowd was pretty sparse.
Yeah, so I was there. I watched them, and I was really hyped because like I'm a big Aerosmith fan, and I've wanted to see them for a long time.
Yeah.
But like you know, we turned up right before they started because we'd been to put our stuff in the car because we were going home after. And we were able to walk like quite near the front, like easily.
Yeah, it's the first time I'd seen Aerosmith, so I was really excited as well, and so yeah, it is an odd slot, that one, and I think you're right. I think a band like Korn that have got they've got a big crossover of audience. I think they've a lot. I mean, everyone around our age knows them from, the Kerrang days. You've got the people in Korn hoodies and, Dickies jeans and everything else, skating, all that
Mate,
mutant.
Dad rock now, aren't they?
It's shocking, isn't it, when you see the old dad
That's
rock
what Korn are,
compilations.
Yeah, dad rock, aren't they, nowadays?
That's right. How did you first get into them? Have you been a long time fan?
Yeah, so like Kerrang TV. Kerrang, so like, I'm 32 in a couple of weeks, so like I was like prime age, when like Kerrang was like the big thing for like discovering music. And I remember it was the Freak on a Leash video, and like I'm sure like every like 10 or 11-year-old that saw it, they were like, what is this? What's going on?
Yeah, it's some video, isn't it? The Bullet.
Yeah, awesome. But I was just kind of a fan like from them really, and I had a couple of mates at school that were into them. And it just kind of went from there, and I just couldn't get enough, and I just thought they were so cool.
They've got quite the stage presence as well. I always Jonathan Davies is a hell of a front man, and I'm really looking forward to. I'm looking forward to seeing it in the dark, because I think there's the big downfall of Download for me is that you only generally see one band, and in the dark, and even those bands don't get the whole set in the dark. So
it's not like in August if like you're at, I don't know, Reading or a Leeds, when it does get a bit darker during like the sub headliners.
Yeah, I remember watching Marilyn Manson in 2005, and it was pretty much pitch black then. Yeah,
but I think seeing him in the dark would be great. I mean, I've seen him. God, how many times have I seen Korn? 3, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like first time I saw him, it was 2015 when they did that tour supporting Slipknot.
Ah, right, yeah. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
that.
and like that's the first time me and my mates had ever seen Slipknot or Korn, and like we loved them both. But like anyone that I was there with, like even now if we talk about it, we all say the same thing, that Slipknot were really good, but like Korn just slapped them all around the stage. Like they blew them off the stage tonight. And I've heard a few other people on like different podcasts or whatever talk about like that tour and just like how good Korn were.
Yeah, because I think probably that tour was. I was looking today, doing a little bit of kind of swatting up on the Korn at Download story, and they went from sub and actually dipped a little bit. So, so they went down to headlining second, and then they even subbed second stage in 2011, which I think is incredible.
Yeah, which is mad. They definitely did have a bit of a dip, and I don't know, I kind of think that tour with Slipknot kind of brought them back into a lot of people's like the forefront. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I think it was a bit of a reminder of like bloody hell, like just how good this band are.
And they've also had some excellent albums as well. Yeah.
Like I think they're on a good run, So I think the album they brought out just after that was Serenity of Suffering.
Yeah.
Well, it has like Insane and Rotten in Vain on.
Rotten in Vain. I've been listening to that a lot today, actually.
For me, that's a top 5 Korn album.
Yeah.
Like, I think that is so solid. And then even the one afterwards, the Nothing that came out.
Yeah.
I think that was just before COVID.
Yes.
Yeah. And
it was, about 2019, wasn't it?
Yeah. And then like even the last one, Requiem, that was, I thought that was wicked because it was just like a more condensed, I think it's about 9 songs in about half an hour, just Korn doing bangers.
Yeah.
So I think they're on a really good tear at the minute.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, I think, like you said, with them getting the flowers as well, they're definitely a band who are fond of Download, and I think that we have so many bands, and we have over probably, Slipknot always want to be there, but I think we had a good few years where all the headliners, it was just another stop on a tour to them, and I think it shows. Yeah, definitely. Like, there are those bands that you see, and it just feels like, this could be X field in X country, and it's going to be the same thing, the same patter on stage every night.
whatever. But like you do get some
insert place
bands,
name here sort of thing, isn't it?
yeah, and you do get like a bit of like a, you know, on The Simpsons, the "Good evening, Spring Do,"
Yeah.
like one of those. Yeah, but no, you do get some bands, and I think Korn are one of them. Where like I remember that set in 2022, and they just looked like they were having the best time.
Yeah.
And it was a bit, because I think it was the day before, that was when Deftones played the same slot.
Yeah.
And that was another one of my favourite bands, Deftones. That was the first time I'd ever seen them. And I just thought the sound was awful.
Yeah, live quality, Deftones in a field doesn't always work, doesn't translate.
Yeah, I've heard they're really hit and miss, especially at festivals. But it was just so quiet. Like me and my friends were sort of to the left of the sound tower, so we weren't miles back.
No,
and we
I mean
could,
that
like,
should be
talk.
prime spot, shouldn't it?
Yeah, and we could like talk over the sound, and it was mad. And then Korn turned up the next day and just kicked the arse out of everything. It was awesome.
That's really interesting. I think we've spoke a lot on the forums about the gap years between, you know, Donington Monsters of Rock and then Download in 2003. So I actually wrote a question down that was another Simpsons throwback, and I put why now? Why not 20 years ago? So I think if we looked at a band that could have headlined in those gap years, Korn have got to be up there.
Oh, mate, like top. I think they've got to be top of the list. You know, like if you look at when Follow the Leader come out, and then Issues was like what 18 months later.
Yeah,
and you just like you see those Woodstock videos, and it's just mental. Like the crowd looks like water. It looks liquid. Like everyone's just bouncing up and down like waves. It's mental. And like
the energy of that crowd at the Woodstock videos, it's kind of palpable through a screen, isn't it? It's honestly like something's going to really go off. Every
time I watch it, I just like it just makes me really hyped up, and I'm just like, God, I wish I was there. Like I don't wish I was there because it sounds like a disaster. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, no, I think like if there was something in this country like a festival of downloads like ilk at that time, they would have headlined. Biscuit would have headlined.
Yeah,
Deftones. I know he's like persona non grata at the minute, but like Marilyn Manson, he'd have been another one.
Yeah, potentially a band like the Offspring. I know they did headline, but you know, peak Offspring.
Yeah,
around Conspiracy at One sort of time.
Yeah, and I think it is a bit of a shame because I do think like if they were able to put on those sort of shows, they might have then been booked to headline the early downloads. Do you know what I mean? And then it would have been just they've always been a headliner since the start. Of course, they're a headliner.
Yeah, I mean that's all it takes sometimes, isn't it? Once someone's in that bracket of headliner, you've got that pool. The pool of headliners for Download has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk for so many years, and then suddenly with the introduction of, you know, Bring Me the Horizon finally getting that boost, you then have, you know, everyone looked at last year and went, oh, Queens of the Stone Age getting that, but now we've got a little bit of a shift. It makes the lineup announcement so much more exciting because you're not picking a rotation of 8 or 9 bands. Yeah,
it's become a bit of a joke on like one of me and my mates' group chats that like I cannot stand Iron Maiden. Like I hate Iron Maiden.
You're talking the wrong person here, mate. But
and I'm not a fan of Kiss either. And every time anything gets mentioned about like Maiden or Kiss, like one of my mates will always like put the tour poster in the chat and like tag me in it. He's like, "Here's one for you." Yeah, but yeah, no, I think it is nice that they are bringing through these headliners, and you know, there's been people moaning, like we've said, about, you know, Korn aren't a headliner because they've been subbing for so long and there and thereabouts. But I think it's all right to start bringing bands like them through because I think Biscuit are another one.
Yeah.
After that, I assume, did you watch them last year?
I did, yeah.
Mate, I've never seen a crowd at any festival as big as that.
No, I was quite close actually, so I don't know if it was maybe a little bit lost on me, but obviously the energy of it was insane. Yeah,
I took a walk up because I wanted to catch Machine Head. So I took a walk up, and I had to walk like sideways past the burger vans all the way up to second stage because it was that packed.
Wow.
And I turned up and it was bloody Corey Taylor playing to about 30 people because all the times were off. But then I kind of like battled my way back for Biscuit, and it was mental. And then I saw like a week later a TikTok video of someone on the Ferris wheel.
I've seen it. Yes, I do know what you mean now.
Mental.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's good to be bringing those acts through because we're also then getting the Sleep Tokens, the Bring Me's.
Yeah.
Bad Omens is the one that I think will be next if they don't come back and play 2025
Yeah, I mean, you've obviously got Ghost as well.
Yeah,
ready to take that step.
Yeah, like, you know, hopefully Gajira one day, Parkway.
Yeah, it just everything seems that little bit more attainable. So you're watching these lower down bands thinking they don't have to get to, you know, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC size, which nobody attains.
Yeah. Oh, it's never going to happen again, mate.
No, that's it. So you can kind of get behind those bands. I mean, I'm a massive Creeper fan, and I know they're not really going to make that jump, but it's a lot closer than it once was.
Yeah. It was nice to think for a while with Creeper, wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? I thought they were. I mean, they kind of went up, and they've kind of stayed up. They haven't gone off again, but they just stopped climbing.
Yeah. It was, you know, there was like, they were one that was really, really hyped when they first came about, weren't they? And it was like they were like the buzz band.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I can't see it ever happening for him, but you know,
weird,
if they can just
I was talking when I spoke to Josh last week, you really don't know what's around the corner with some things because did you go to the Pilot?
Yes. Oh mate, what, like, probably my favourite festival I've ever been to.
It was incredible, wasn't it?
Oh, it was awesome, so good.
But when I watched Sleep Token and then watched Creeper, if you'd have asked me which band would be up headlining, I'd have put my money on Creeper. And it might only take, you know, Creeper might come out with something that, I know it's getting to be a bit of a cliche, but like, if they get a TikTok hit, if they get something that just gets into the psyche of the masses, that could be all it takes. Yeah, I mean,
at no point did I ever think that when I go on my TikTok, you know, a couple of years ago, every second video was going to be like a Ghost snippet.
Yeah.
Or like, Sleep Token, or like Kubla Khan. Every time I go on TikTok now, it just seems to be like Monkey See, Monkey Do, or like whatever else. Yeah. So it's mad, isn't it? It's like it's new MySpace, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's things are just rocketing up. So, and I think this is you spoke about Sleep Token then, and you mentioned Green Day earlier. It's almost like quite an exciting proposition here because if Download can do something like that every year, get a classic. I mean, Green Day now we're falling into that classic band. You got a classic huge act. You've got a brand new / you know, up and coming headliner, and then you've got like someone like Korn, like you say, finally getting the flowers. That could be a real good trilogy, you know, a good trio of headliners every year. Yeah,
I think that's a bit of a winning recipe, to be honest with you. Like, Green Day's one of those like white whale bookings.
Yeah, I never thought it was going to happen.
No, like the longer it's like every year, there's people say, "Oh, I really want Green Day to play." Like the longer it's gone without it happening, I've just kind of written them off and thought, right, they're never going to do it. Foos are never going to do it. Blink are never going to do it. And I think last year with like Fall Out Boy, who smashed it, absolutely smashed it.
Yeah.
And Queens, I think it just boots that door down, or like even if it doesn't boot it down, it's like Jimmy to open.
Yeah, exactly that. I really agree with that a lot, and it actually made Download a lot more fun for me because When there's less pressure on the headliner, I think sometimes you enjoy it more because you don't spend your whole day kind of building up to something often doesn't deliver what you wanted in the first place.
Yeah,
and then you just
definitely.
have that last headliner where you might have a beer with your mates and have a sing song, and you're kind of not as hyped with it in terms of putting that pressure or expectation on it, but instead you
Yeah.
are just there ready to let's have a good time, enjoy ourselves.
Yeah, just like let it wash over you, and then you'd probably come out of it thinking, bloody hell, that was really, really good.
Yeah, and I think Korn's definitely that one for me this year.
Yeah.
I almost I've almost felt guilty about it because I've never given them the time that they deserve, and that's probably because they've never headlined. I think I've always been aware of them. I've always known 5 or 6 songs, and I've always watched them if they don't clash with anyone I want to see. But now the headlining, I've been right through the back catalogue. I'm really getting into it all.
Yeah.
And
Good stuff.
it's interesting, and
Yeah,
I'm doing the same with Sleep Token. Like we said, me and Johnny went last week to see Sleep Token, and I've no doubt if Korn were doing it, we'd do the same. So
yeah, like Korn's just like we've mentioned already. They're just one of those bands that are just so reliably awesome live. Like
Yeah.
every time I've seen them, like from that first time I saw them with Slipknot to I think it was about a year and a half later, they did that co-headline tour with Limp Bizkit, and like that was mega. That was so good. Like I do think Limp Bizkit stole it that night, but I think it was more of a rarity thing.
There's also the fact that Limp Bizkit have probably play the same set all the time, pretty much. You know the 10, 12 songs you're going to get.
Yeah.
And they're all absolute classics where Korn will rotate more, and they've got a much deeper back catalogue.
Yeah, they really do. Like, and they're such an important band. Like, I genuinely think that Korn are one of the 4 most important bands in metal, full stop.
Yeah.
Like, I think, yeah, if there's a Mount Rushmore, Korn are on it. Like,
Yeah.
you've got Sabbath. So I go Sabbath, then I think Judas Priest, Metallica, and then Korn, because I don't think modern heavy music sounds like it does at all without Korn.
Well, this is something I was listening to the debut album in full, and I must confess it for the first time quite recently. Mm-hmm. And I showed it to my dad, and I said, "Listen to this," because my dad's quite into Slipknot.
Yeah,
and I said, "Have a listen to this." He said, "Oh yeah, it sounds quite a lot like Slipknot." And I said, "Yeah, this was 1994."
Crazy, innit?
Which I thought was absolutely mad, considering what was around at that time was grunge and quite a dip in heavy metal popularity. They came out with this crazy new sound with the way the snare sounds, the way the bass sounds.
Yeah, like I'd have been like, 1 or 2 years old when that come out, depending on when it was in 94. But I've often found myself thinking like, what must that have felt like pressing play on that for the first time?
Yeah.
And hearing that'd be like going back to Victorian times and like chucking an iPad at him.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot of the things. Like you think about Black Sabbath's first album, and then you think when it came out, that must have sounded like evil.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I was listening to a bit of Meshuggah with the lineup announcement, and then I'm thinking these came out in the 80s.
Yeah, it's mental. Like that. So they are after Korn. They're probably the band that I'm looking forward to the most. Like I love Meshuggah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to them actually. But yeah, a bit of an eye opener for me. Another band I've been aware of for a long time, and
I think they. It's going to sound like a bit of a weird comparison, but I think Korn and Meshuggah kind of tie in really well together because of how influential they are. So like, I don't know. I've like found myself thinking before when I've like been going back and listening to like different bands, like different scenes and stuff, and thinking like, God, in that particular decade, all the bands are ripping off a certain band from the decade before.
Yeah.
So I think like, I don't know, Korn's a bit weird because I think their influence was in their own decade. Do you know what I mean? I think they were the most influential band in the 90s.
Yeah.
And then like you go to the 2000s and you've got like Avenged and all like the metalcore bands, and they're just ripping off At the Gates riffs.
Yeah.
And then like another decade later, you go to like the 2010s and everyone's just doing gent riffs because of Meshuggah, aren't they? So it's like, it always seems to be a band from like the previous decade that everyone's just like, oh, let's do that.
Yeah. Yeah, we're kind of starting to see it with the kind of Bring Me the Horizon sort of very meticulous click track kind of driven heavy riffs.
Yeah, that almost like, and I love Bring Me, but almost like that doesn't quite sound like a band in a room playing together now.
That's my only criticism of them. Yeah, and I agree with that a lot. Like I'm listening to Korn, and it sounds like some five or six guys on stage organically playing music. Because sometimes the joy in live music is the unpredictability of it, and if it's just you're just getting a precise performance every night, it's not quite like as exciting. Simplicity
as well. Like I think, apart from the two drummers like Korn have had, you know, I don't, and I'm sure they, I don't know, maybe might be offended, but you know, I wouldn't say that any of them are like masters of their instrument. Do you know what I mean? They're not like virtuoso players.
No.
But it's like when they all come together, it just all clicks and it just works so well, even though it's not like the most complex thing in the world.
No, well, that's it. I mean, a lot of the best rock and metal bands, they're good because they are...
Yeah, they're better than some of their parts.
Yeah, and and there's a groove and a natural kind of chemistry between the members, and sometimes bands then replace some key members, and that chemistry just disappears.
Yeah,
and that's probably something you wouldn't get with Bring Me the Horizon, for example. Not to shit on Bring Me the Horizon, because they're obviously one of the bands of our time, but I think you'd just swap member for member. He would play a perfect performance against a click track, and then that would be that. Yeah,
it's very different, isn't it?
Yeah,
very different. But no, I think like we said, that is something that makes Korn really special. And like, you know, they've had members come and go and come back, and you know, Head he left for a while, didn't he?
Yeah, that was his first. The first time I saw Korn actually was his comeback performance at Download.
Really?
Yeah.
So I actually met him.
All right.
I actually met him and Fieldy. So it was on that. It's my cool Korn story. It's a bit of like a joke in my family. Like every time my mum would be like, "Oh, what did you tell that Korn story again?" But yeah, no, it was that tour. We went to see them supporting Slipknot. And I've gone with all my mates, like all my mates from school. There was about 5 or 6 of us. And we was waiting in the lobby afterwards for me to finish having a wee. And when I come back over, American guy come over and he was like, "Oh, do you want to come and meet Korn?" And we were like, "What? Piss off! What?" And he was like, "No, we're like filming something and we need to get some fans." So I still don't know what it was to this day they were filming. I've still don't know what. But yeah, we got to go backstage. And there was probably about 10, 12 other people they'd just picked up.
Wow.
And they brought out Head and Fieldy, and we just got to meet him, and it was like, oh my God. Yeah.
What were they like? I've always, from what I've seen of Korn in interviews, they seem like really, really stand-up guys, actually.
So Head was wicked. Like, he was just like proper, like buzzy and stoked to see people. Gave us some guitar picks. It was a bit Jesus-y, but
yeah.
You know, if that keeps him out of mischief, then like you do you.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah, and then Fieldy was just a bit more, aloof, shall I say?
Yeah.
Like I was like, man, I've like been wanting to see you guys since I was about 11, and he was like, "All right, okay."
Yeah.
And I was like, "It's really cool to meet you," and he was like, "Cheers, dude." Yeah. But no, they're really cool. We got a picture with them. And none of us had our phones on us, and the tour manager emailed it to us. It was so cool.
Oh, amazing!
Yeah,
that's really cool.
but yeah, that's like my one cool story.
That's the thing with meeting bands back in the day. I met Brian Johnson
No.
before AC/DC's gig at Milton Keynes, and we didn't have, obviously camera phones didn't exist back then.
Yeah.
I don't even think we had mobiles on us, and in the end, all I've got from that is a signature on an envelope that the receptionist at the hotel had.
No way.
But yeah,
That's wicked.
He was really cool.
Yeah. Oh, that is cool. That is really, really cool.
So another thing I wanted to kind of muse over really was the difference between, I mean, a lot of bands draw a crowd. Mm-hmm. You look at a band like, I think a classic example is Skindred.
Yeah.
Always pack out a stage. And I think, so it's just the difference on drawing a crowd versus selling tickets. And I was just wondering how you think Korn will do in that area.
So, like I mentioned earlier, they're not shifting tickets on the scale of, you know, a lot of other headliners, but, you know, it's probably about, just shy of 40,000 tickets last year.
Right. So it's good enough, isn't it? With a good billing, give them a good support. And
yeah, like to me, like especially because Download is going to be a festival that's already full of their fans.
Yes.
But they're already going to be there. So, like I said, there will be people who, you know, maybe get a day ticket or whatever because they didn't get to go to that tour. But there's going to be, you know, tens upon tens upon tens of thousands of people that are already at the festival that would watch Korn, Rain or Shine any year.
Yeah, who like them enough to.
Yeah, definitely.
And I probably will fall into that bracket myself. I wouldn't necessarily buy a day ticket to see Korn, but if Korn are headlining a stage, I'm 100% going to be there. Yeah,
and I think like you said, it's like drawing a crowd, but then keeping it. Do you know what I mean? Like in 2022, the start of their set, they had a gigantic crowd. The end of the set, just as gigantic. Like, no, I don't think anyone's going to like say it's never going to happen at Download, but say if you've never heard of Korn before, and you're wandering by, they're going to draw you in, and I can't imagine anyone being like, "Oh no, this isn't very entertaining. Oh, this is shit or whatever. I'm going to go get a burger or something." They're gonna keep people engaged, and I think that's something a headliner has to do. And like their massive crowds over the years have shown they do that.
Yeah, and the fact that they've kind of, I think it takes a lot for a band, like we said before, to take a bit of a dip. Maybe and it's just sometimes signs of the times, things moving on slightly. And like you said, this big resurgence and the fact that they've now grabbed everyone's attention again to be a celebrated headliner it says something about them, doesn't it?
Definitely. And they've got that thing as well, you know, like I said, it's going to be full of their fans anyway, but they've got that handful of tunes that, you know, if you're into rock music of any kind, like over the past, if you're like 30 years old, a little bit younger, you're going to know. You're going to recognise, aren't you? You're going to recognise Freak on a Leash and Blind and probably Here to Stay. And
Come Undone.
Like
there's at least 5 or 6 that I think will be in any one of our age. So I'm 36.
Right.
So it's just going to be ingrained in your psyche. Anyone who watched Kerrang back in the day or Skulls, you couldn't avoid them really. For
sure. Like I've just got their set list up for when they did that big show at Gunnersbury Park. In and like just looking at it, like Rotten in Vain, which we've already said is a massive like modern Korn banger.
Yeah.
Here to Stay.
Adidas. That was the one I was going to say actually, because that's one I was listening to like a playlist of the set lists or the recent ones.
Right.
And that Here to Stay absolutely.
Oh.
Yeah, blew me socks off really.
That was first song I ever played in my car when I first passed my driving test.
That's it.
Yeah, I made a CD in my shitty red Corsa that was a bag of shit, but that's like second song in. They're like Adidas, you know, Clown, Start the Healing, Blind, Falling Away from Me.
Yeah.
That's the one that makes me think of like Woodstock every time.
Yeah. And Blind, that Was it? Which one is it that he came out with? Are You Ready? Is that Blind?
Yeah, that's the opener one.
Yeah.
And then he goes into that. It had the rabbi, the twist, and it's just like yeah. But yeah,
I don't think anyone's attention will wane for Korn.
Definitely not.
They're definitely. I think Sleep Talker might have that battle.
Yeah,
I think they'll either win. People will either go, "Wow, these are musically incredible," or they'll go, "This isn't for me," and they'll just drift off. But it's not going to happen with Korn.
No, I think that's what makes it a bit different. Like Sleep Token, they're very like esoteric, aren't they? And they are a bit niche. And I think I like their last album.
Yeah,
I was always a bit of a doubter. I got a couple of mates who were really into them, and I'd seen him like supporting Architects and a bit at the Pilot, and I was just like, I don't get it.
Yeah,
I just don't get it at all. And then I listened to that last album, and I do get it more now. But like looking at their set list, it's a bit from the tour they've been doing like this week and last week.
Yeah,
it's a bit Eras style, isn't it?
Yeah, it's. I think you've almost got to be invested in it. I went with a totally open mind, like I said, we said on the podcast this week, and I really enjoyed it. I've got to say, but there was a lot of people just chatting. They were there for a couple of songs and then just weren't that arsed, and I think that could be amplified further at a festival where people have got other things they can do. Like you say, they can wander off and get a burger, they can go and get a beer, go and watch something else. Yeah,
I think that's a big thing at festivals, isn't it? Like, I know we've just said the festival's going to be full of Korn fans, but you know it's not the case for everyone. You're not always playing on home turf, are you?
No, and you've got to grab hold of the neutrals, haven't you?
Yeah, so I think Sleep Token and might do them a little bit. Not that I'm telling them what to do. Do you know what I mean? They're the ones that are selling out massive shows, so they're doing something right. But like mixing it up a bit, and rather than having it in that sort of like chronological, you've got to be a fan to know what album this is from. And
yeah, I hope and / think they will. And like we say, we're definitely not questioning the credentials in terms of headlining download, because the fact that they've sold 120, 130, 40,000 tickets, it's absolutely mental.
It's insane, and like I think that's the best booking Download have made since Slipknot.
Yeah, like
it just is. Like we've been moaning for years. Like look at the whole Bring Me situation.
Yeah,
they could have headlined. What, 2015, 16?
16 they were booked, apparently, weren't they?
Yeah, apparently so, yeah. But yeah, and like they have struck while the iron's hot with Sleep Token. I think it is the best, bravest booking they've done. It's just, there will be people who don't think that way.
Yeah, and there always is. And then, I mean, you'll equally get as loud people. I mean, people moan like hell about Maiden, about Slipknot. And then they moan about a new band. And then they all said, how good is the Grass Pop lineup? And you're thinking, that's just the same lineup we get every other year anyway. Yeah, that's just Download the last 10 years, isn't it? Just like all stuck into one. It's just a bit cooler because it's over in Belgium or whatever, and they got better beer than us. Yeah. Yeah. So where would you... So obviously you listed some brilliant songs from the recent set list. So if you had one album for a non-fan to start with, I think I'm going to go for Issues. 1999's Issues. So that is my favourite one. And I think it's just got that mix of everything they were doing on the debut and Life is Peachy and Follow the Leader, but it just sounds massive. That's when, like we said, that's when they were at Woodstock. That's when they would have been headlining big festivals here if they were around. And that's the t-shirts and hoodies you saw everyone in. With the doll on, like that's iconic in itself, isn't it? Like, they got a few of them covers, haven't they? Like the iconic one, like the Follow the Leader, the girl doing the hopscotch, and then the creepy one with the girl on the swing on the debut. Yeah, I think Issues from I think Issues would have been my thought, and I've written two. I've written Issues in the debut. I think the only reason Issues sways it slightly is just the production's a bit better.
Yeah, and I reckon I don't know, it's not got that ending of the album, is it? That's just a little bit heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that'd be my number 2, the debut. But yeah, I went for Issues because I just think I'll say it's the biggest sounding. Have you Untouchables? Have you ever heard about how much that cost?
No.
So that apparently cost $3 million to make.
Wow.
And I had a look on the lead up to this. I know it's Wikipedia, so it could just be a load of old shite, but it's down as being the 9th most expensive album ever by anyone.
That's incredible that they got that production budget, really.
It's crazy, isn't it? And I've heard other stories on different podcasts and reading bits and pieces. Each member had their own mansion rented out for the recording process in Hollywood or LA, whatever.
So
and it's just mental. This so it came out in 2003.
Right, so it's on the back of all the Woodstock success.
Yeah, so it was... Let me have a look, mate. That's the album after Issues, I believe. Let me just double check for you, sorry. Yeah, it is. So 2002, sorry. 2002, yes. They've obviously got massive, been at their peak, and then had all the money in the world to just do what they want on Untouchables, which is wicked as well, but I don't think it's as good as the other two we've mentioned.
No, that's great. And what about a top 5 songs then? Because this is one that we didn't cover with Josh, and he messaged after saying, I should have said what my top 5 songs are.
So my personal top 5 songs.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to go Trash from Issues.
I'm going to write these down and get them on a playlist after.
I'm going to go Somebody Someone from Issues as well. Dead Bodies Everywhere from Follow the Leader.
Yep, I do like that one. I've
that. Then I reckon I would go... I think I'd probably go Good God off of Life is Peachy.
One more. I think you got one more.
I'm going to go for... do I go back to Issues, or do I go for the debut? I'll go for the debut. I'll go for Bull Tongue off the debut.
Bull Tongue.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, I think that's a nice... Yeah, that was hard, and that was on the spot. Wow.
Yeah. Well, that's good. I mean, it's great that there's that. I mean, that's, I guess, how I would be as an Iron Maiden fan if you said top 5 off the top of my head. So they'll be going on my playlist tomorrow, so thank you for them.
Enjoy.
Yeah, so just to, I guess I'll start to wrap up a little bit. So now we've got this download 2.0, as we've kind of, people have dubbed it on the forums and elsewhere. How would you, who are you looking forward to getting that next bump then?
So I think Ghost have to do it next year.
Yeah.
I was really surprised they got them on second stage 2 years ago now, wasn't it? 2023?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought, they were big enough to headline Main then, but, with another tour announced and, they will have another record, it's a no-brainer for me. And I think they should put them on the Sunday.
Yeah.
I think they should put them on the Sunday because they are, it is a spectacle, in it, because of theatricality and, all the effort they put into putting the set list together and just everything about it. It is like theatre.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
We got a bit lucky in that sense because it'd been blistering sunshine, hadn't it, all of last year, and then it kind of clouded over a little bit for Ghost. So the lights actually worked and everything started getting a bit more atmosphere. So it was a bit of a turn for the books, really.
Yeah, so I think I think Ghost next year, and then, like I said, if they don't come back this year, I don't reckon we're getting Bad Omens back until they headline.
No, they are really rocketing up.
I think the next tour they do, like I think it'll do Sleep Token numbers.
Yeah.
Because I saw them. Did you go to the Bring Me tour at the start of this year?
I didn't know, but I did hear that the Bad Omens crowd was.
Oh, it was insane. So like, I went into it when they got announced. I'd never really listened to Bad Omens. I was a little bit sniffy about them because I'd heard like, you know, they're just like really watered down, like modern metalcore, whatever. And I was just imagining like pressing play and it being like I Prevail or, you know, who's the other one? Who's the silly ones that dress up like bloody horror movie stuff?
Ice Nine Kills. I like Ice Nine Kills.
Yeah. But I was expecting that. But yeah, I kind of made myself listen to Bad Omens. When we saw them in like Sheffield Arena, I've never seen a support band with a production like that.
No.
It looked like a headliner production. And looking around, like, so I was in standing, it just looked like as many people were there for them as they were Bring Me. It was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously something happening if they've got that production. I think it shows that where they're aiming.
Yeah. God, who else do I think I make the Partway Drive? You got to think they will next time.
Yeah, it's kind of got to happen, hasn't it?
Yeah, like they were awesome. That was 2023 as well, wasn't it? Under Slipknot.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I think Architects played a couple of days before in the same slot, and I just think it was a bit of a damp squib, really.
It's a shame that Architects looked like a shoe-in at one point.
Yeah, they did, and then they came out, like the last few times I've seen them, they just, I don't know, it just seems like something's a little bit missing lately, like in the live setting.
Well, I thought they were going to really kind of put themselves back on the map with the Bloodstock headline, and from talking to people, they just turned up and did a paint by numbers set and walked off. There's no kind of sense of reverence with it. It was just
a little bit like, God, it's a little bit like you were saying at the start of this, you know, about how some bands it's just another show in another field.
Yeah. But you've got like a band has got to put that emotion out there for the crowd to give it back sometimes. I think if you feel that it's special for them, I remember seeing the first time I saw Sabaton, it was at Sonosphere Festival, and I had never seen them before in my life. They came out and they looked so happy and so, you know, pumped to be there that the whole crowd just fed back.
Yeah, just up for it. Like, and then like at Bloodstock, because Malevolence were on before, and every single like podcast I've listened to or like YouTube review or like people I know that are actually there, they were like, that's everything Architects should have done. Like they looked so stoked. They just went balls out and looked like they were having the best time. Yeah,
those are the best sets.
It might be like a bit of a wild shout, but like, I don't know, Malevolent one that I could maybe see reaching the top at some point.
They're making, you know, not leaps but big strides. Sub-headlining at, like you say, at Bloodstock, and I don't think anyone saw that coming, and like you say, by all accounts they smashed it out of the park. So you keep ticking away at that sort of thing, and things happen eventually, don't they? So.
Just like, you know, just every tour is just bigger and bigger venues, and they're just putting on better and better shows, and they're just doing it right, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like it might be a bit of a mad shout, but like, I don't know, eventually, you know, I wouldn't be completely stunned if they ever did get to that point. I think they do have it in them if they carry on the way they are for a while. Yeah,
that's really cool. So who else are you looking forward to? Have you got on your must-see list this year?
So I know I said earlier like Meshuggah, but I do think, now I've thought about it, I think overall it's Weezer, mate.
Weezer.
Mate, I bloody love Weezer.
I don't know if you saw when we did the announcement. Reaction and my sister kind of missed them off and then said them at the end, and we literally punched the air.
Yeah, mate. Honestly, like I saw them at my first ever festival at Leeds in 2010.
Yeah,
and like their set is still in my top 5 sets ever. It was madness. It was so good.
That's great. I've never seen them,
yeah.
and I've always thought, I can't believe they've never been at Download before. So,
Oh man, honestly, you are in for a treat. Like I'm manifesting, sun shining, nice and warm. You know, hour and 10 of Weezer bangers, cold beer in each hand. Like
Yeah.
it's going to be the best time.
that sounds brilliant. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
God, who else? Really looking forward to seeing. I'm really looking forward to seeing Don Broco.
Yeah,
Like they're the band I've seen the most. So if I see them at Download, it'll be my 23rd time. Like,
my word.
yeah,
That's
like
going.
yeah, they're gonna have like a bloody restraining order before long. Like, oh, yeah, he's here again.
I've got to be honest, I've never seen Don Broco, and I have really gotten into them in the last since the announcement. I can't
Mate,
can't get enough of them.
they're like, I put them alongside like Limp Bizkit. They're just like an ultimate party band.
Yeah,
Like you turn up to watch them, and it's going to kick off, and they're going to have the best time. You're going to have the best time, and it's just really good to see them finally get like that big logo slot.
yeah. Well, it might have been you actually on the forum that said it. They've done it without any sort of fanfare.
Yeah, like they've never really had much of a media push, like not in like Kerrang or whatever. I've never heard them on like daytime radio. They just seem to have done it bit like Malev, just playing better and better shows, bigger and bigger tours, and yeah, it's gonna be wicked to see them play the set they are because they're just gonna kick the arse out of it. It's gonna be awesome.
No, that's really cool. I'm glad you've said them because I'm looking. Well, you've said a few that I was looking forward to, and now you said about Weezer and Don Broco. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to those.
Yeah, Jerry Cantrell, that's going to be cool. Like,
yeah,
his album that he brought out a few weeks ago is really good. It's just like bonus Alice in Chains stuff.
Yes,
so that's
exactly what me and Johnny said. It's just Alice in Chains.
Yeah, it's always like you're never gonna turn that down.
He does Alice in Chains songs live as well. So
I had a look the other week at his set list because my mate was on about like, oh, we're gonna be watching his set, aren't we? And I was like, have you seen what Alice in Chains songs he plays?
Yeah.
And sent him the set list, and he was like, oh my god, he's like the best ones.
Yeah. So that's I've seen them a couple of times. I'm trying to think where. I think it was Sonosphere actually, twice at Sonosphere.
Oh, I've never seen him, mate. I'd love to see Alice in Chains.
Yeah, they were on like one of the top of my wish list, so I kind of got half a point for that one. But
and I think just one more one, which is a bit of a surprise. Poppy. Yeah, like
I haven't heard the new album yet, and I've heard it's very good.
Oh, mate, so like, it's completely just taken over my life, that album, and I've never really been much of a fan.
No.
I've seen her a couple of times, and I just thought, yeah, this is fine. But yeah, this new album, like, it's ended up being like I'm really sad, and I have my albums of the year list that I do every year. It's like my number 2. I've just been absolutely hammering it for the last couple of weeks. It's awesome. It's so good.
No, that's cool. I've definitely got to give that a go because I did quite like a few of her songs. I liked the I Disagree and X and all them. I thought they were different, quirky, and catchy. So I'll definitely give that a go.
It'd be good to see her. Like, did you see that page? It was on the website before it got taken down of the stages and where bands were meant to be playing.
Yes.
Yeah, and she was on mains, so I think that's another one. Like, it'd be really cool, like, to see her on like Sleep Token Day, along with like, you know, Don Broco and, you know, hopefully like Static Dress and just a few more of the younger school.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good day. That really good.
Yeah, and from even early performances I've seen of Poppy, she kind of put a good show on, a good. So it could be exciting. That's really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, mate. Well, should we? I'll probably let you get back to your evening and back
cool.
to your teaching prep and all that.
Yeah.
So
cool,
I really appreciate you coming on, and I hope to have you on again in the future if you're up for it. Mate,
I'd love that. Yeah, like, thank you so much for having me on. It's been cool to put a a face to the name.
Yeah, I nearly got to do
yeah.
the same with you, but your camera's not working, is it? So
I'll try and
maybe
get it
one
sorted
day.
next time, mate. But yeah, no, I really do appreciate it, and let us know when you want me on to slag off the DJ sets.
Oh, of course, yeah. I thought we were going to do that as well.
Yeah, no, I'm only
Brilliant.
winding you up, mate.
No, I'd like
But
to
yeah,
do that because I think it's an important conversation. What makes a good entertaining, set in the village, or
yeah,
District X as we now know it. But yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah. No, thanks a lot, mate. I do appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate it, John. And thanks, mate.
Yeah, nice
All
one,
right.
man. See you later.
See you again. Bye.
Bye.
It's the Lowdown Podcast.
There we go. What an interview. Well, to be honest, it wasn't even like an interview. It was just like listening to a great chat between you and Jordan. So
That's
well
what I've
done,
enjoyed from Jordan and from Josh. I don't want it to be like a formal question
and answer.
Yeah. Just want a bit of a chat about some bands that people love, and that's what I'm hoping to do going forward with Green Day as well.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to pronounce this very carefully, but a guy on Reddit known as Mr. Cunny Fund has offered his services to talk about Green Day. So he's a big Green Day fan.
Brilliant.
Judas Yeast has also said his mum's a massive Green Day fan as well, but he said he wouldn't recommend it because he said a phone call can go on for 3 hours. So.
Hey, he's not wrong with that.
No,
But
I said it would be another interesting angle on things. But yeah, I really enjoyed talking to Jordan.
Yeah, and I think when we're saying we'll struggle to do these bands justice, he really did them justice. I think you can tell the passion in his voice and when he's talking about them. It's like when someone talks to us about Maiden or Metallica, isn't it? It's a similar.
He had polarised views to me on Maiden.
He wasn't a Maiden fan, was he?
No.
Which was interesting. But yeah, what a lovely guy as well.
What have you been listening to since? Because I've been listening at non-stop to
Oh
Korn.
man, I have as well. So we didn't say much in the first section, but I'm so glad we're doing this pod and talking to these people because I've found an absolute love for Korn since listening to them, and I think I took the advice from you actually. But there's that many albums to choose from and that many songs. You just don't know where to start. So I listened to those tracks that Jordan said were his top 5. Absolutely incredible. And I think even better, I'd listened to a full set, this year's set actually, back to back.
This was actually Stu from SMTV.
Ah, brilliant! Yeah.
I commented on his post about Lorna Shaw and said, "Look, I don't know where to start with this. Could you point us in the right direction?" And he said he always starts with the set lists, and I think
What
that
a tip!
was
Brilliant.
Great advice.
Because obviously
Thank you
the
very
set
much.
list is like curated to make it ideal for the night, isn't it? So it's got a mixture of everything in there.
Yeah, and it builds the momentum of a live show, and you can get. I could just picture myself. I had that Korn 2024 set list playlist on from Spotify.
Yeah.
And I could just totally. It'd finished by the time I'd even kind of realised it started, and that's what all great shows do. Unfortunately, you go. Well, I was saying it about the Bring Me the Horizon set. I looked at you. I was like, they can't be finishing already. They've only just come on, and it was like they
flew past, absolutely,
it just blew past us because of how entertaining it was. And I think Korn will do that.
Yeah, I agree.
And like Jordan was saying, they're not a band that's gonna passively entertain you. They're a band that's gonna grab you, and really
and hold your
not
attention.
let you go for an hour and a half to 2 hours. So
No, and I always thought, because we've seen them a couple of times in the daylight and stuff, haven't we, as well? So that'd be a big difference. But I've always feel like I'm just waiting for the big hits, whereas now it absolutely won't be that. They open with that Rotting in Vain, which for me is my ultimate favourite out of all of them, out of all the tracks now. So
Rotting in Vain, Here to Stay is my other one, and what was the other one I kept saying about? It was Did My Time. Yeah, absolutely. Just give me goosebumps the other day listening to that, and I think it's taken me to just ignore the hits almost because one of my favourite ones, Twisted Transistor, they haven't even played since 2019.
Ah, right, okay.
So I think I've got a long way to go in this kind of journey of discovery that we're doing.
Yeah,
it's not as easy as Sleep Talker, really, but you've only got 3 albums.
Yeah, that's it.
Because they've got packed albums, hits upon hits.
Yeah, big back catalogue to choose from. God, we're going to be packed at Download this year, aren't we? Because we're discovering so many bands.
I won't see you all weekend. We'll have to go and watch different bands so we can comment on things.
But no, brilliant, Jordan. What you really did them justice there, mate. And
Jordan wants to come back as the festival draws nearer to talk about what makes a good Download Village DJ set.
Yeah, I'd be interested to chat that.
Yeah, well, we've been saying it for years. You go when you watch one DJ, and it happened in 2022. We were watching one DJ.
Yeah, back
we
to
were
back.
getting bored of their set list. We were then going to the one and the other one, and they were playing it. It was like Channel 4+1, wasn't it?
Yeah,
you were watching them. You're like,
yeah.
I'm sure that DJ played these exact 4 or 5 songs in order.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm interested to see what he thinks will make a great set. I'd like to put across what we think would make one as well. I'd love to do that one year, do a silent disco set.
Yeah, that would be good fun.
At Download with maybe one of the other podcast creators. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, that'd be good fun.
Bit of a long-term goal for us.
Yeah,
there.
that's it. So that key question then, mate, about Korn now being a headliner.
Well, it's so overdue. It's
It really
so
is,
overdue.
isn't it?
I think after 2022, I think I publicly said it on Facebook pages, on forums.
Yeah.
I said if they're not doing it this year, they'll never do it.
Yeah.
And I am happy to be proved wrong.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give them my full attention on the Sunday night.
Brilliant.
As long as it's a bit warmer than it is tonight, because I'm absolutely bloody freezing.
And we got jumpers on as well.
Yeah, rocking my Download Christmas jumper again.
Yeah, perfect. But yeah, very good chat. Look forward to. I don't think we'll take much more persuasion for Green Day because we're big Green Day fans.
Yeah,
But I'm quite excited to hear about someone who knows a lot about them and who's seen them. Again, we've not seen them.
We've not seen Green Day,
That's
and
a difference,
we're
yeah.
also, again, I don't know much about them beyond the 2 classic albums and singles. Really, I don't know much about the newer stuff. So there's definitely some education to do, but that's the reason we've left it till third, because I think more casual people know Green Day.
Yeah.
Like you talk to your mum.
Yeah,
That's like my mum, and she knows a lot of Green Day
definitely.
songs and all that sort of stuff. So we've had we'll wrap it up with a little bit of rock news.
Yeah.
Just one that I wanted to cover personally, being a big Iron Maiden fan. And that was retirement of Nico McBrain from live performances. It was a bit of an emotional press release, actually. When
it was. I'd messaged you, didn't I? And I'd read it, and I thought, bloody hell, it feels like the start of an end of an era, if that makes sense.
Well, it started a little bit ago with, I think, UFO retiring for us, because we were big UFO fans and Whitesnake fans. Whitesnake kind of quietly went away, didn't they? They kind of did that farewell tour that never finished.
Yeah.
And then David Coverdale's cut his hair short and everything. Looks like your nana.
It does.
Yeah,
when he posts all the time on the Whitesnake page, and selfies of him and his cat, and it looks like the exact same ones. Get up with Nana. It looks like it. But
we love David Coverdale because he's one of the nicest people ever on Twitter. And
he's engages with everyone, doesn't he?
Yeah,
he's
really,
messaged us
really
a few
nice
times,
guy.
hasn't he?
He threw his towel to our Kate once after a gig.
Yeah.
My mum, she came home, we were on the bus. Kate was only 15, 16. She said, "Mum, David Coverdale threw me his towel." Mum threw it away. Threw it in the bin the next day.
Get it in the bin, stinks. But yeah, Nicole, it was a bit emotional reading that. Don't know, was it didn't look it was planned. I'm not sure. It was quite quick, wasn't it? It was this is his last
Well, it
gig.
was at the last day of the
last
tour.
day of that tour.
Maybe they didn't want to have it out there too soon.
Yeah, okay.
But I think it's been coming. I think if you watch some of the videos lately, there's been a few mistakes creeping in.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, what he's gone through with having a stroke and then managing to do one massive tour, but 2 massive legs of this tour.
Yeah.
And still sounded incredible when I saw him, but it's not a young man's game, I don't think.
I said it
not an old man's game, sorry. Playing in Iron Maiden at 72, playing the Trooper and
I said my granddad's not much older than that, and he's just sat at home watching Bargain Hunt in his pyjamas.
Yeah.
It's a different. And I'd struggle to play a full Iron Maiden set for fucking 2 hours. I'd be absolutely wrecked. So to do it when you're at that age is insane.
Huge
a bit inspiration.
Sad though, I first saw Iron Maiden in 2003, Dance to Death tour. They obviously headlined the first Download festival, and 2 Monsters of Rocks before that, and several downloads since. So
Yeah.
sad. I hope he comes out at the London gig. I think. I think
that would be a nice touch, wouldn't it?
it'd make a lot of sense.
So he says he's still heavily involved and he'll do the writing and stuff.
He's still a member.
Yeah.
He said it's just Simon Dawson from British Lion and various session gigs from before then. I've listened to some of his studio work, and he's clearly a fantastic drummer. I mean, they're not going to give it to anyone, are they?
Exactly, yeah.
And yeah, sad. It'll be sad to see. I mean, you look at a band, you look at Iron Maiden as a 6-piece, and 5 of them have been there since 1980, back end of 1982.
Wow.
You don't see many bands like that anymore.
One of the very few drummers where if you took away all the music and left the drums, you know exactly who it is.
Yeah, a totally unique style of drumming.
Insane. Plays barefoot, no double pedals.
No.
Everything you hear is just,
No, if you listen to
Really
him playing,
iconic.
you know, Where Eagles Dare and all that, still into his 60s. Unbelievable.
It'd be interesting to see if the new guy will use his kit and stuff, because it's quite an iconic.
He plays a 5-piece.
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
Which
that's what I noticed.
I mean, you can't do that, can you?
No, it's an iconic centerpiece of any Maiden stage show, isn't it?
Did you see the very last shot that they left it on was Sooty?
Oh, was
on
it?
The
On
kit?
the
I was like,
man.
Yeah, it's a bit. Yeah, I had a bit of a dustology going on there.
Yeah.
I was at my little lad Adam's swimming lesson as well, and I was just checking on my phone. I was like,
Crying into your phone. Yeah. But yeah, a bit of a shame, but at least, still get to see them.
Yeah.
Carry on the legacy.
yeah, I think it'll maybe wrap up fairly soon. I wonder if this might be the last tour, really. Maybe finish it at Download, who knows?
Yeah, that
Download
would be
2026 would be a fitting
great
place.
touch, wouldn't
Because they
it?
can't go anywhere else in terms of pinnacle, because they're doing the London Stadium and a massive tour next year. Where do you go from there? And I think a massive send-off at Donington
festival
Park
set.
it's appropriate to a band who've contributed so much to the history of Download and, you know, Donington as a music venue. So
Reading and Leeds booking them, mate. That'll be...
Oh, Christ. I honestly saw that lineup for Reading and Leeds, and if you just wrote a lot of random words on a yellow piece of paper and passed it to me, I would be none the wiser.
Yeah.
Bring Me the Horizon,
Etta Shikari.
A couple of us. The Kooks, third from top at a festival in 2025.
Yeah.
Mad. I mean, I'd like to see Chapel Roan, but under that, I have no idea who anyone is. It's... I don't know. I don't know anymore. And I think Bring Me the Horizon will be incredible there.
Yeah.
But I don't know who's watching Becky Hill then sticking around to watch Bring Me the Horizon.
Yeah.
It's just absolutely bonkers.
It's not a weekend ticket festival anymore, is it? By the looks of it.
No. But I don't even know, apart from, you know, Bring Me the Horizon and Enda Shikari, was there anyone else?
I can't remember who else was on that day.
No.
Strange one.
Yeah, sad to see. I'm looking forward to Bring Me the Horizon coming back to Download.
Yeah, I am actually.
And I kind of wish those sorts of bands would just knock it on the head now and do maybe All Points East and a couple of other things like that. Leave that well alone. Yeah, we're going to have to wrap it up.
Wrap it up there, mate. We're on an hour and 20.
Yeah.
So, brilliant.
We're going to have a bit of a Christmas special next week, aren't we?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
We're going to
Christmas
invite
party.
my sister Kate back, and for the first time, our very dear friend and festival companion, Rosie, is going to join us for a bit of a Christmas special. We're going to have a couple of beers, wear our Christmas jumpers, and talk a load of shite, probably. But
yeah, we will.
We'll have a nice bit of fun, and then we'll probably have a little bit of a break over Christmas because everyone will be busy with festivities anyway. So you want to listen to us two knobheads. So
And then we'll get into the new year. We'll be on the 6-month countdown.
Yeah. Yeah. God, it'll be Download year.
Download year.
Exciting times.
Brilliant.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
See ya.
This is the Lowdown Podcast.